Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit or Zappy here, back again with Demon Slayer. We are on episode 17 of season 1, and in the last couple of episodes we have gotten to a place called Mount Natugumo, and we're at the foot of that mountain in the surrounding forests that has been inhabited by a spider demon family in quotation marks, because I'm kind of getting the feeling that it's not like the case of like they were a family beforehand in the human world, and then when they transferred over to the demons and whatnot, that was just a thing that carried on. That could possibly be a thing with a few of them, like maybe the mother, the father, and the little sister. I'm not too sure about the other brother, the one that's got a big head. I'm not sure about that one. But what it feels like to me, because they did mention that there's a 12 Kizuki member here, that I think it's Rui, and I don't think it's the father, which is a bit of a red herring that they're going for, even though not really. I think it seems fairly upfront and in your face that Rui is the 12 Kizuki here, because he's the one that looks like he's pulling the strings out of the whole thing. And when I say I'm not sure of whether they were a true family kind of thing, it almost feels like Rui came in as a 12 Kizuki member and is just basically scared them into submission or controlled them into submission kind of thing, and he's just pulling the strings kind of. So I feel like he's the 12 Kizuki member. What else? Yeah, so we went up against the mother last episode, where she was obviously literally puppeteering the bodies and all of that, which was sucky for a bunch of those people. But yeah, she was taken out with obviously the help of Inosuke throwing up Tanjiro, and Tanjiro coming down in front of the moon in that silhouette, which is always a great image to have. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best image, because the best image absolutely of that episode, the best visual, was when he used his fifth form, which I think is my favourite form of his right now, because it's not like that just atypical sort of shonen finishing move kind of thing that a lot of his other forms are, or they have different, they serve different purposes. But I feel like that fifth form is entirely suited to him as a character, and it just looks gorgeous. It was incredible. It was like a watercolored painting almost. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, that was really cool. And yeah, she is now not suffering anymore, so that is great. Zenitsu's being chased by the big fucking headed guy who I think is on a spider body. We haven't seen them together, but it just makes sense to me that that's who it is, because he's got that big head, and they're clearly not showing his body. I feel like he's the one with the spider body, which is, ugh, God, he's going to be the disgusting one. Of course Zenitsu would get that one, wouldn't he? Of every one of the other ones. That one's going to scare him shitless. But hopefully he'll blank himself out, and then go into his badass form. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. We're just going to get in episode 17 and see what we get. But yeah, hopefully Geyu turns up, because I thought he was going to turn up last episode, which means that surely he's going to turn up, if in not this episode, the next episode, right? Surely, please give me Geyu, just give me him. Anyway, yeah, so nothing else to really talk about. If you do want to obviously go watch the reaction, then you can do in the link in the description. That'll take you to the 10-minute version, and then under that there is the full-length version as well. So if you do want to go watch it in full length, uncut, and not the whole thing, then it's there for you if you wish. But yeah, nothing else to really talk about. So we're going to get in episode 17 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 17, and my boy Zenitsu proven yet again that he's fucking incredible. God, it just is. I mean, all of the breathing techniques and everything is incredible, but I just love his visuals so much. And I love how it's tied to, it's weird, this show, because it's I'm sure the whole water breathing thing, right, with Tanjiro is all about technique. So it's all the water, looking like it's there is, a visual. It's it's supposed to interpret the idea that he is so like his form is so like exquisite that it's like, you know, it's as formless as like water kind of thing, you know. So it's but it's weird, like with the likes of Zenitsu, right? When he does his attack, that in the distance, Tanjiro can pick up like a thunderclap. You know what I mean? Like ominously in the distance, which I fucking love, by the way. Like that's sick. That just makes me like it even more. Like especially him not knowing that it's Zenitsu that's doing it. You know, like it's just a very. It's like an eerie thing to have like a thunderclap off on the distance when they don't know exactly what it is, but we do. It's so cool. You know, so like the fact that there's a sort of a sound attributed to Zenitsu's attack and his thunder breathing, like, makes me think that there is some form of, like, you know, like magic or like spell associated with the breathing techniques and stuff. That's what it makes me, because I thought the same about, I mean, you know, speaking of Tanjiro and his water forms and stuff, I thought that it was similar to like when they were facing off against the Tamari demon and whatnot, and the arrow demon, that when Tanjiro was getting flung about the place, right, and he was like falling from like a great height or whatever, he used an attack, right, that was was it the water basin one, where it basically, like, you know, slowed his fall, like it basically cushioned his fall or whatever. And it's like, well, how do you do that with a sword? You know, it's not like the water actually appeared. So it's like I go back and forth between, like, is it really there or is it not? Or sometimes it is. So I don't know. Like, it's strange. But, you know, regardless, it was incredible. I could see it coming. I didn't think it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a race against time with Zenitsu. I mean, in a way it is, but not in the way that I thought. I thought it was going to be a race against time to kill that demon, because I figured that whatever this, you know, poison or whatever, I thought that was conjured via blood demon art. So if you kill the spider, then all of that gets undone, you know, like it disappears. But apparently not. It still remains, which, oh, that's fucked. I mean, I don't know what, because all he can do is slow the poison, right? I love that he did that though. I love that, like, you know, doing the breathing it in. To slow the poison, you know, cause it's like going to that whole, you know, like him being like the master of this just one form that he can do, even though that there are 6 forms within the thunder breathing library, I guess. I don't know what you would call it, you know, but he's mastered the first form, but being able to use thunder breathing in other ways, that's not just creating a form to attack. I love that he can do that, and I don't know what they're going to be able to do. I mean, it sucks because Zenitsu now is like, you know, it could be Gyu, and is it Shinobu? I think it's Shinobu, right? Yeah, it is. That find Zenitsu, because Chuntaro hasn't found Tanjiro or Inosuke yet, right? So it could be a thing of Chuntaro going off to look for help and actually finds Gyu and Shinobu, and that could help. And with them being Hashira, I don't know if they have, you know, access to some things that can prevent that kind of poison, you know. But yeah, man, like, I love the backstory as well, and I figured we were going to get it at some point. And the fact that he was like literally zapped by lightning, which turned his hair color. It's also like I kind of feel like it just cements like the reasoning, like why Zenitsu is the way that he is, because it's like it's almost like the world is against him. You know, like it's not just like people thinking that he's unreliable, so just being like, oh, like useless. But like even the world is sort of against him. But it's one of those things like whether you turn something into a silver lining or you look at the positive in something. That lightning bolt was like, while it might seem like it was completely unlucky, that it kind of, I don't know if it really did anything to him physically. I don't really think it did, but it kind of, well, obviously it changed his hair colour and whatnot, but I don't know if it like literally imbued him with, you know, thunder and lightning powers. Like I said, I don't know what's real in terms of the forms or whatnot. By hearing the thunderclap and everything like that, I don't know if that is the case. But you know, I think you can kind of look at it as a sort of positive, like a wake-up call kind of thing, even though it kind of didn't. But I don't know, it's just it's interesting. But I think it probably has something to do with the fact that that place in which they were in, that was the only tree, so it was like, it acted like a conduit where Zenitsu was, and he just he just happened to be like hiding out in the tree. But yeah, so we've got that little backstory there, and it turns out that the guy that was training him was actually a Hashira at some point beforehand. Obviously, you know, retired at this point, but that's interesting though. That's really cool. And we got information that the Hashira are actually the top, like, sort of elite of the Demon Slayer Corps as well, so that's really good. That's really cool. So that means we know now that Gyu is part of that group. So he is really that good. Yeah, and him being the only one that actually sort of believes in him. But it makes sense now why, like, back when we first met him, well, it wasn't really back when we first met him, but, you know, further on, the idea that he was saying that he was sort of dragged and forced into the training and stuff like that. And so it turns out that, yeah, like, he wasn't lying in that regard, but it's one of the things of, like, when he first mentioned it, I think it's easy to sort of dismiss it as like he was completely you know, like, beaten to a pulp in order to kind of like do this training and stuff. And in a way that he kind of was, but it was more in a like tough love kind of sense. So like the one person that actually, you know, never like shunned him away or whatever because he didn't, you know, he was, you know, classed as a weakling and useless and everything. Like the one person that actually kept, you know, sort of dealing with his like antics of being a coward and everything like that, like never gave up on him at all. So, and the fact that, you know, he's a Hashira just makes it like all the more better. So yeah, Gramps is a badass, man. Yeah, I wonder if Urokodaki was like a Hashira. I wonder, because we never got information on that, did we? I feel like he almost would be, but I don't know. I really don't know, because I mean, my theory on the whole thing of Gyu being, you know, being trained by Urokodaki, because of the whole thing that he was, where is it? Because he had the, I'll bring it up all the time, but the fact that he has the thingy's kimono, Sabito's like kimono on one half of his, is that, like, I thought they may have been, like, you know, together, like they were basically under Urokodaki's tutelage at the same time. So with Gyu being a Hashira, I mean, I guess it could just be potential wise, right? And Urokodaki doesn't have to be a Hashira. You just, you know, give him the tools to go off and you know, do what they can. But if their potential is just like way higher, then, you know, I guess it doesn't mean that the person training you has to be a Hashira. But I don't know if we'll get that or not. I don't know if, like, you know, when we're going, like, if we'll, I'm sure we'll see Urokodaki again at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this season though, because we're getting on in this season now. Like, this has gone by so quick. Already on fucking episode, you know, 18 at this point, and so there's only, what, 7 episodes left? I think it's 25 episodes. I could be wrong. 25, 26. There's 26. So, alright, well, there you go then. So, 6 more episodes then. But, no, 8 more episodes, sorry. Fucking hell. Math is not my strong suit right now. But yeah, I mean, back to the original point, which I really just went off there, because I didn't finish it, was the whole blackout thing. So, I thought when the demon was sort of counting down, like, alright, well, this is where you're going to, start feeling, like, uneasy and little bits of pain or whatever, and then at this point, like, he's going through, like, all of the different, outcomes at the different times before, like, he blacks out and whatever. And I was like, as soon as he blacks out, and, like, because it was, that was the last step or something before he would, like, wake up and you wouldn't even remember anymore. It's like, that's going to be the thing, isn't it? He's going to black out, and then he's going to have, that time to change into, like, the badass, take him out, and then that's that. It's all done. Because the best thing about, like Zenitsu altogether is the fact that because he has this nature to be a coward and everything like that all these demons sort of underestimate him. So he has the best opportunity for a 1-out attack to just end something immediately. Whereas the likes of Tanjiro and stuff, that isn't kind of the case, because he stands up to them and everything, and, like, goes straight up, like, one-on-one on something. It's not really as much of a, like, an attack that's going to catch them off guard. Whereas Zenitsu, it's just like, you're not expecting them to do, like, the demons aren't expecting them to just automatically be able to pull something like that off. So it always catches them off guard. So in a way, it's an interesting sort of dynamic with Zenitsu in that regard, because it means that his cowardice and everything like that ends up becoming a strong advantage for him, whereas obviously him and so many other people, because of how they treat him, see it as a weakness and everything like that. But in reality, it's kind of it works out in his favor. So it's really cool. I think that's why he's just becoming my favorite character, because I think there's so many sort of layers there. And I've said before, like, other shows, like whether it's like My Hero or something like that like it's very rare that the protagonist of a show, specifically a shonen, is like my favorite character, because they're the sole driving force. They kind of have to have a specific goal in mind, and it's not as it's not as easy to sort of write a character that's not that way inclined, I think, for a protagonist in a shonen, that they have, like, these multiple levels. Like, you kind of have to get on board with them straight away in order to be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to watch this series with this and carry it on because I like the protagonist or whatever, right? And it just comes down to basically, like, liking them. So, it's rare that a shonen has a protagonist with as many layers and sort of character development as what the sub-characters do. So, like, the likes of Zenitsu and Inosuke as well, like, I'm really liking the way that he's, like, steadily being, like, sort of, like, developed, because you can see the little things, like, coming out of Inosuke that's that they don't come out as sort of in your face as what Zenitsu's is, but you can definitely pick up on them. So yeah, very cool. What else? Yeah, so the guy was turning people into spiders. The fucking that one spider demon, that was his thing. So I got it wrong. I was right then when I was kind of wrong, and then I was right. I was wrong in the before I watched this episode. I thought the spider body thing was that demon, but it wasn't. That was a person that he turned into a spider, and that's it. That's what that was that we saw last episode. That was sneaking up sort of behind Zenitsu. But he was making them, and then I was right in that when I was in the middle of watching this reaction, I was like, that didn't look like the brother or whatever the fuck it was that we saw before, Because yeah, I thought I remembered him having like a slight, like at least some hair on there, whereas the other ones they like all fell out. So I was right in that regard. But yeah, like being able to turn people into spiders via that sort of poison is fucked. Because it's like, in a way, it's kind of like the whole demon turning thing anyway. But it's not that he's turning people into demons, really, or is he? Because that's a weird. That's an interesting thing to get into. Is that like when he's turning those people into spiders, does he turn them into demons? Like, are they technically demons, or are they not? You know, because if that's the case, it's like he's halfway there. Because remember, like, what was her name? Tamayo, she eventually figured it out. Like, she can turn people into demons, but none of the other demons like can. I'm sure like any demon, given the amount of time and like will to do so, could eventually turn other people into demons. I'd imagine that is roughly how it works. Although it might depend on how much Muzan like gives you in terms of his own blood, if that is even possible. Like, you know, if he gives you a lot, then like, you know, the practicality of it maybe like increases. So maybe Tamayo. I think I had a theory like when she was like in one of her episodes where she was there, where I said something along the lines of like, I think it would have been interesting of like if Tamayo was actually considered a real, like, I don't know, maybe like a love interest or something to Muzan, so therefore Muzan give her a lot, and that's what allows her, you know, to now, you know, turn people into demons and stuff, and possibly be able to turn them back. But yeah, it's sort of an interesting thing of that guy turning people into spiders, because in a way it's similar. Like, he's turning people into different things. It's like a metamorphosis he's making there. But I guess it's almost like he's halfway there in turning people into demons. But it could just be a thing. It's turn them into spiders, and that's a part of the blood demon art. But then I don't understand why the poison wouldn't dissipate either when he killed them. And also that spider guy died very quickly, whereas the other demons would take a while. Like, the more stronger ones clearly like take a longer time to sort of dissipate. And I figured that he would have been one of them if he's able to like sort of pull off that kind of demon art, you know, because that seems to be like one of the strongest ones, like being able to just turn them in that way, you know. But who knows? So yeah, we got to the father, who of course had a fucking spider face. I figured like it was a thing of like they weren't showing his face at all. He wasn't speaking, although it turns out that he actually can't speak, because he just did in this episode. But you know, but of course they would have it the opposite way, and not having the spider body, human head, and instead of having it the other way, it's a human body and a spider head, or like at least a spider face anyway. But so he's looking like he's the most like strongest physical wise, because he just took a straight up attack from Tanjiro and it didn't penetrate at all. So he's like incredibly armored. I mean, I have to assume that that's just a form of his blood demon art. Like how would I describe it? Similar to, if you've ever watched Bleach before, there's a moment where I'm sure I've brung this up quite a lot actually in other shows and everything, but there's a moment in the story where he's trying to fight, you know, it's basically like the whole Aizen arc, right? And he's trying to become stronger, so he goes in this like sort of like time vortex kind of place where like time is basically stood still outside of it, but him inside of it like spends like years in there, just honing his skills or whatever, and he completely gets rid of all of his like he basically dissipates like all of his sort of like soul energy or whatever, and just basically converts it into just sheer like sort of like his physical attributes. Essentially that's what he does. So, you know, it's crazy like to think that I'm guessing like that's what he did. Like, his sort of blood demon art is to just basically put it into his muscles and everything like that, and just make him completely like physically strong. It's possible that could be the case, but yeah, we'll find out. Also, the sister demon as well. Like I did say, like in a couple episodes ago, like past that, like I don't know if she is more on her mother's side and kind of like that whole thing of. I don't think she's being tormented, the sister, but I feel like she's. It seems to me like she's playing it smart, you know. So a theory I would probably guess is like maybe she realizes that like she's in a shit situation, so she's like I'll just like get like she said to her father like it's up to you, father, right, or something like that. I imagine it could be a thing of like where she's just saying like I'll just get rid of them and because otherwise it could be a thing of similar to the mother basically saying like oh just die already, just die, because obviously she's being tormented. The sister wouldn't want that either, so I guess it's just a case of like oh we can't let them ruin all of this because otherwise we're going to pay for it kind of thing. It could be just that, but I don't know, because it seemed like she had more of a sympathetic look on her face when we saw episode 16, and you had the father holding up the mother by the hair and stuff, and maybe she's playing it more smart with Rui. I can probably see that a bit happening. Just a theory though, we'll see what happens with that. And yeah, and that's it. That's what we've got. Again, another fucking great episode. And it's always a pleasure to see Zenitsu come out in that way. And yeah, I'm going to say that because the thing is that unless Tanjiro and Inosuke can like deal with the father like quickly, then I don't know, I feel as though Gyu's going to be, or Shinobu's going to be the one to rescue Zenitsu in the situation that he's in. But we'll see. But yeah, anyway, that's all I've got. So yeah, awesome episode. Going to get an episode 18, and hopefully Gyu does turn up next episode. Let's hope so. I want to see him, man. I want to see him do shit. Let's go. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well with a bunch of different tiers. So if you do want to support myself, then I'll be very much grateful. There's a bunch of different tiers and rewards there. Like I said, the early access tier, $5 a month, gives you access to shows a week early. So obviously episode 17 is out for public now, and then episode 18 will be out right after it. You can go watch episode 19 and 20 right away if you become an early access tier patron, so go enjoy that if you want. There's also the full length tier there if you want to watch any of these in full length, and there is another bunch of tiers there where you can pay to have a show reacted to as well. So if you want me to react to a show, go have a look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I got, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.